create a workflow wherein I can create an ingestion model for GPT. And so the way that works is pretty much I started off having a conversation with my chat about the idea of the agent that I wanted to build. We determined that we would need it to learn certain things about Google APIs, how to do code parsing, etc. And then we started talking about the strategy for creating the agent. Through that process, I ended up giving it script, which it can then convert into vectors like these. So I then uploaded the vectors to my assistant, which I created here, and I also uploaded an exported version of each workbook in Google Sheets that I'm using in the XLSX Excel format, and then uploaded those here. And then the next thing I was going to work on was adding in some functions and some back training and libraries for the latest on Google API, Google Apps Script, etc. So in order to configure that, I pretty much started off by just going to the main Google API Explorer page, saw all of these, realized, okay, I got to grab those links so that I can properly find what I need in terms of the APIs I want to train it on. And from there, I then loaded those into the sheet here, selected the section of the ones that I wanted, and then I uploaded those into a different program I have called Screaming Frog. So then loaded that onto Screaming Frog. I uploaded it in list mode. This is a technical SEO crawler. It's pretty much been like my #1 app for like the last 10 or 11 years, probably, maybe longer. And it's amazing for AI building and ingestion models these days. So what I did is I set up my spider in list mode, and I uploaded just this list of URLs here, the ones that I wanted to be included. And then I set this up so that it would be limited in terms of what's crawling in this way, that it's not doing anything I don't need it to. And I also set up an extraction to have it pull out the HTML data for all the pages. So pretty much it's going through all the different parts of each API's website because they're all different links. And it is then extracting the data from those pages and organizing it into HTML files that'll then be correlated with the URL. So I'll be able to get all of the data from every page on the site and then use that to train my agent. Depending on who you're crawling, this might not be allowed, so you should probably find out. You can do that going to a website's terms and service. There's also this thing called the robots.txt file, which before in the SEO days, people would technically try to use it to control where Googlebot was crawling and all that type of thing. But these days, it's more that it would always be ignored. Like, as you can see, you can just be like, I don't care, and then just not follow that file. So it's kind of useless in terms of it being like effective for security. But these days, it may be making a comeback. I know DeepCrawl is a tool. In Botify, I think, for example, you have to have authentication to go around the robots file. So those are like ways that it's enforcing security, but anyone could build a Python crawler and just like do what they want. It's just a matter of effort, really. But anyways, so leave this alone for now. I was going to mention just that you could set this up or look to this to be like another place that you might be able to get around some places that you wouldn't otherwise be able to crawl. And then when you're doing rendering, make sure you have everything set up to fully render the pages. And in some cases for certain websites, if they're giving you a lot of like timeouts or the pages aren't returning properly, you will want to set your timeout to be like 25 seconds, like long, just like kind of increase it and kind of see how that goes as it's processing. Other things you might notice that'll help you understand if you're allowed to crawl a website, or if it starts returning metadata and or like that says stuff about AI in it. I've seen that happen when I've tried scraping certain websites. And then the other thing you might see would be any instances where it is giving you a 410 code or a 403. Those are forbidden, which usually means that you're not supposed to be there. So it might be something behind a login. If you get 500 codes coming in, that's usually that you're timing out or the server no longer wants to respond to you. That's where the 403 might also come, because you've dinged it so many times with your IP that it thinks that you're DDoSing. So if it thinks that you're DDoSing, the best way to work around that is to slow down the speed of the processing. So you can do that in here. I think the default is like 3 and 2, and you can have this unchecked, but the way I do it is I'll increase it slowly, but I'll have this checked, and then every like 10 to 15 minutes I might like bop it up a little bit higher. I've noticed even with websites that are notoriously intelligent about blocking DDoS attacks, if you kind of like, and I'm not trying to DDoS it, I'm just trying to crawl it, a small portion of it. But sometimes for certain websites you can crawl them if you crawl slowly. But again, watch your terms and conditions. Make sure you're doing everything by the book. And that's everything I got for today. I will let you know as soon as my ingestion model crawl is done, and we'll move on to the next step, which is agent and assistant functions.
Stay in Flow for more expert prompts and quick tips from AI Marketing Flow. Follow or subscribe today on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok.